This podcast is made possible by the listener members of Nashville Public Radio.
This is the Nashvillager Podcast. It's October 23rd, 2024, and we're right in the middle of a collective birthday week for several Middle Tennessee counties. Wilson, Williamson, Dickson, and Rutherford, we're looking at you and how you were founded. Happy birthday. I'm Tony Gonzalez, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee, plus history and context from WPLN News. If we go back to late October 1799, the powers that be in the state legislature had decided it was already time to draw some new boundaries. It was only 3 years since Tennessee had become a state. The Grand Division of Middle Tennessee consisted of just 3 counties at the time. Those were Davidson, Robertson, and Montgomery. The new boundaries carved off portions of Davidson. They created Wilson to the east, named after Major David Wilson, a Pennsylvania native, and Williamson to the southwest, named after Dr. Hugh Williamson, a physician and scientist who had signed the U.S. Constitution. Only 4 years would pass before it was time to start drawing again. The population was growing plenty fast, so in 1803, land from Robertson and Montgomery became Dickson County, named after a Nashville physician. At the same time, another chunk of Davidson became Rutherford County, named after a Revolutionary War general. And that county originally stretched all the way down to the Alabama line. And here's the thing. Even those new counties didn't hang on to those boundaries very long. Within a few years, even more of the Middle Tennessee counties that we know today had been carved off, like Hickman and Bedford. Nowadays, while our region's population is growing quickly, it would be surprising to entertain any major changes to our well-established county lines. In just a few minutes, we'll hear from a Nashville high schooler who found independence by riding the city bus. That's coming up after the newscast.
Hi, I'm Mariana Baca-Yao, WPLN's Power and Equity reporter, and I've been busy this fall making sure you have all the information when it comes to the names on your ballot and how to cast one. At WPLN News, we believe in democracy. In fact, our funding model relies on you casting your vote for local journalism in the form of a donation. Make your voice heard and support your favorite public radio station online at WPLN.org.
For WPLN News in Nashville, I'm Tony Gonzalez. A group of pilots is taking to the air to provide supplies to areas of eastern Tennessee that are still suffering the aftereffects of Hurricane Helene. Angel Flight Soars is a group of volunteer pilots who ordinarily fly patients from rural areas to a city for medical care. News Channel 5 reports the group has flown 15 flights out of the Murfreesboro Airport, bringing tents, flashlights, heaters, warm clothing, and cooking equipment, mostly to Greenville, Tennessee. A state court put some of Tennessee's abortion ban on hold late last week, saying the state cannot pull a doctor's medical license for performing emergency abortions in specific situations. The ruling included a list of life-threatening conditions, and they all require the pregnancy to be non-viable. Ashley Cofield is the CEO of Planned Parenthood of Tennessee and Northern Mississippi. She says the decision gives clarity during those particular emergencies, but there are too many possible situations for judges and lawmakers to anticipate. For example, before the ban,
we had a patient who was in heart failure. Her pregnancy was fine, but the pregnancy would have killed her. And so we worked to get her an abortion so that she could live as long as she could with the condition that she had.
The court's latest order protects doctors from professional punishment, but not criminal prosecution. It's also a temporary order, and it's unclear how long it will last. 2 state representatives have written to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to criticize one of the agency's criminal probes. Republicans Monty Fritz and Bud Holsey, who chairs the House Criminal Justice Committee, say the TBI's investigation of Millersville's police department might be, quote, politically motivated. News Channel 5 reports the city's assistant police chief, Sean Taylor, is accused of illegally using civilian volunteers to help with parts of a child predator sting operation. The department is also accused of illegally using government data to investigate personal rivals. In their letter, the state representatives threatened the TBI with, quote, political fallout if their investigation continues. TBI Director David Rausch quickly responded to the letter, writing, quote, TBI's structure has helped it investigate criminal activity regardless of an individual's political affiliation or connections for decades. He made it clear that the investigation will continue. Tennesseans at the polls may be surprised that the name of the candidate they select is not the one that appears on their ballot. For example, people who try to vote for Gloria Johnson for Senate sometimes find that the machine selects Marsha Blackburn instead. WPLN's Power and Equity reporter Miriam explains the voting machine isn't necessarily the problem.
Before you point the finger at voting machines, you might want to look at your own finger.
They are trying to punch that little box with their finger.
That's Jeff Roberts, the administrator of elections for Nashville. He says your finger is not as precise as the sticks that polling places have. Those sticks can zero in on the little box near the candidate's name. Roberts demonstrates on a sample voting machine that has canines instead of candidates. When he tries to vote for Beagle in the second row, it selects the Bulldog option above it. Since Republicans are listed first in races, when people run into this issue, it's usually because they wanted an option below the first. Roberts says it's easy to fix.
Once you're finished, it's going to allow you to review your selections. So that's your first check.
After that, you can print your ballot and double-check your choices. Let a poll worker know if you need to change it, and they can help you up until it's in the scanner.
Once it's in the scanner, we can't do anything with it. It's done. Your vote's completed at that point.
Roberts says the stick versus finger problem is a statewide issue. Mariana Baca-Yao, WPLN News.
Nashville International Airport officials are sharing growth projections that dwarf their expectations from just a few years ago. The Tennessean reports the airport once projected it would have more than 20 million annual passengers by 2035. That number's already been surpassed, so they now think it could be more than double that, some 70 million passengers per year by 2035. Just a day after hosting its own grand ceremony and bestowing medallions on 3 new Hall of Fame inductees, the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum was honored with prestigious hardware of its own, the National Medal of Arts. Among this year's 11 recipients, the museum was the only institution. Its CEO, Kyle Young, accepted the award from President Biden at the White House. You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org. In Nashville, one item up for consideration on the ballot this election is a $3 billion proposal to revamp the city's transit system. To better understand how buses operate now, WPLN's Cynthia Abrams is bringing us ride-along stories all this week on the podcast. Today, we meet one frequent bus user, a student for whom the bus has enabled more control over her high school experience.
It's 7 a.m. and my Kia Lee is ready to ride. School starts in an hour, and it takes about 45 minutes to get from her home in the Napier area across town to Whitebridge in West Nashville. Some days, though, it takes even longer, like today. When the bus blows past the stop because it's already full.
It sucks for mornings that I wake up late because if it comes like every 15 minutes or so and then one just passes you, it's just putting you behind.
My Kia is well-versed in executing an efficient ride. She knows exactly where to cross the street for her downtown transfer.
And I'll get off here and then just walk straight down Broadway.
The ideal place to keep her bus pass.
I just put it in my phone case so I don't have to take it out of my wallet.
And the best music to listen to while riding.
It's like a mix of like Gracie Abrams. Let's see. There's some Billie Eilish, Girl in Red, Harry Styles, Justin Bieber.
Pink light in June.
My Kia is an erudite rider because she buses a lot. To school and to her job downtown at an ice cream shop. And she's been doing it since freshman year.
My friend was taking the bus and she was like scared to be by herself on the bus, so I just started taking it with her.
And she has already made some major life decisions dependent on how she gets around. Coming out of middle school, my Kia set a high bar for the kind of school she wanted. A couple didn't fit. Now she's found the academic rigor she was looking for, but it happens to be 8 miles away.
In the first day that I came here, I missed my bus stop and had to walk like 30 minutes back to school. Yeah, I didn't know where I was going. I had never been on this route before. I was just flying by the seat of my pants.
Flash forward, and it's better than catching a ride.
It helped my mom save time with like work, and then it just stuck.
On this day, even though that one bus blew past us, she still made it on time. All of this bus riding, Micaiah sees it as a skill, and she wants other kids to have it too. That's one reason she joined WeGo's Youth Action Team. That's where she's learned a bit about this year's referendum and what it would mean for her.
I wouldn't have to wake up as early. I wouldn't have to plan ahead of time for if a bus was to pass me by because there would be one like 5 minutes after.
Whatever the outcome of the referendum, Micaiah won't be around. She's off to college next year. But students like her will still depend on Nashville's bus system. Cynthia Abrams, WPLN News.
Come along for different bus ride-alongs each day this week as WPLN highlights the experiences of current transit users. You can also read analysis of the transit referendum at wpln.org/transit. Thanks for listening to the Nashvillager podcast. We take this look at Nashville news every weekday. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite app and tell a friend or give us a mention on your social media. It does help to get the word out. And of course, everything here at WPLN News is listener supported. And we're in our fund drive, so you can become a listener member at WPLN.org. Otherwise, that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.